Hi guys, and welcome back to my next episode. My name is Mishan from the Selfmates channel. On my side is Bradley Stevenson from the Syscoin team. And today we are starting our new series of Syscoin, just starting a little bit talking about Syscoin, the introduction, the comparison with other blockchains, Syscoin Rollups, what the technology of Syscoin. And we will do like a sort of a series, like a 5-6 videos. We'll see how long it goes. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Bradley, nice to meet you. How are you doing?
Hey man, I'm doing pretty good. It's great to be back with you. I think we've done some interviews in the past. It's probably been a little over a year. So wow, I mean, there's been a lot that's gone on since the last interview we've had.
Yeah, definitely. Syscoin has done so much in the last 12 months. So we're talking now about Syscoin, and a lot of people say, "Hey, what is Syscoin? They are doing so much." Let's start a little bit with the introduction of Syscoin. Syscoin started in 2014, right? As a proof of work on. I'm sorry, and they changed a lot of things during the time. So you can introduce a little bit Syscoin so people can know, hey, what's Syscoin all about?
Yeah, well, Syscoin started out with the objective of providing the most ideal layer one blockchain, the most ideal blockchain in the world, right? And there have been a lot of different advancements and iterations that have gone on, of course, since 2014. The initial discussion started in 2013, and the project released to mainnet. I think it was around Q2 of 2014, right? So that was when the first version hit mainnet. So Sys, the native coin, has been in circulation for quite some time. A lot of different holders. We don't know who all of them are, but we have a very large community that's always growing of people that participate in our decentralized governance. And our focus really is to provide, the best blockchain possible and the best balance of the trilemma as possible, right? So we want blockchain technology to be mass adoptable to the entire population of the globe and beyond, and for it to be as secure and decentralized as possible. In addition, right? So that's a very, very big challenge. And that takes a lot of that, especially starting out in 2013 with the discussions to where we are now. There's been a lot of advancements. There's been a lot of rethinking and recognition of new problems that surface as we solve old problems, right? And so that's one great thing about Syscoin is that we're always on the leading edge of blockchain research. And in addition to our many innovations that we've done throughout the years, whether it be ZDAG, which is like a resilience fallback for Lightning networks, which minus ZDAG is entirely lacking in the industry, and other things that we've done as far as opt-in compliance on a public permissionless layer one, things like this. We also really have a knack as a project for seeing the bigger picture, recognizing all the different technologies out there today, the direction that decentralized technology is going, and identifying which of these advancements really belong in an ideal solution and how they can be brought together as a whole, basically to kind of create technological synergies that enable things that would otherwise be impossible without sort of this overarching kind of grand design, right? And Syscoin is that grand design that I'm talking about.
Yeah, definitely interesting because we're seeing just on a homepage, on a web page of Syscoin, like the decentralization, merge mining, the technology. Just let's go a little bit through the rebrand of the homepage of Syscoin, because Syscoin started as layer one, right, with their own blockchain and started to implement new features. So let's talk a little bit about the layer one and then the transition later to layer two, right? So what does Syscoin solving right now? Why should people consider Syscoin? Say, hey, there are a lot of coins out there. There are Solana, Layer 1, Polygon. We have other just buying Smart Chain, Binance Chain. Why should people consider Syscoin? There's a lot of questions all every time when I'm speaking to people. So, well, let's dive deeper into it with the Layer 1 of Syscoin.
Yeah, certainly. So for someone that's new to blockchain, maybe they're a software developer that's just learned Solidity, or maybe there's someone that just, wants to own some cryptocurrency. In order to understand why Syscoin, answer that question, it really helps to understand the problems that are facing blockchain technology, the challenges that need to be solved. If you don't understand that, there's really no way that you're going to be able to navigate and understand what's best, because let's be honest, there are tons of different platforms out there that appeal to one's desire for instant gratification, right? There's Solana, there's Binance Smart Chain, there's a lot of different smart chains or EVM type platforms out there that are very cheap and very fast. So if that's all you're looking for and you don't understand the problems associated with blockchain, then those are out there by the dozen. What Syscoin does and what makes Syscoin very different, is there's quite a bit of content to dive into on that topic, but at a very high level, what we do is we provide a design that is future focused, that enables for global mass adoption of billions of users onto a modular system that enables extremely fast, low-cost transactions that are settled in the background to essentially a layer 1 that is essentially secured by Bitcoin's own proof of work network. So that's our sort of optimal navigation of the trilemma, right? Which we consider to be decentralization, security, and scalability. We consider scalability the capstone. And we have been convinced over the years that scalability is not something that should be achieved by sacrificing a significant part of security and decentralization. And this is the problem that Ethereum has faced, right? So everyone wants Ethereum to scale. Of course, Ethereum does need to scale. It's got massive adoption. And through this period of time where Ethereum essentially hasn't been very scalable, there have been a lot of other projects come to be that have sort of stand in that gap to sort of give users the experience that Ethereum lacks, right? Something very fast and something very low cost. But this comes at a great sacrifice typically with these other platforms. Either they're unreliable or they're insecure or they're centralized to a great degree. And these are things that people might not necessarily care about initially, especially if they're new, until it's too late. Right? Until they're impacted by the centralization. And then all of a sudden they care, right? We're talking about billions of dollars worth of value in the future, potentially trillions, very likely, right? And so I remember when I worked in enterprise database development, back in my traditional career, when it came to supporting a database, designing a database, data integrity and security and availability were the top important, priorities. Speed, performance, and things like that all came after. That was icing on the cake. Essentially, how Syscoin has always looked at this work centralization. And we looked towards layer 2 or modular solutions for how scalability would be solved in a way that does not sacrifice those really fundamental aspects, right? And so that leads us to where we're at today, and one of the taglines that you've probably read or heard a lot is that Syscoin is the best of Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? So, and that holds true in the sense that our network is secured by Bitcoin's miners. We stick to Nakamoto proof of work consensus. And then as far as everything Ethereum is planning to provide in the future, which even post-merge, they're not providing it yet, right? Which is a fully modular blockchain that's got rollups on top, where the Ethereum layer 1 is providing those rollups data availability, things like this. We're doing all of that as well. Another great thing with Syscoin is it's 100% compatible with Solidity smart contracts. So any contracts that exist on Ethereum or any other EVM can be launched on Syscoin or on Syscoin's layer 2s. Why wouldn't you launch on Syscoin as a creator of a protocol or a developer? The only reason I can think of why someone would just choose Ethereum instead of running on both Syscoin and Ethereum or just on Syscoin is because Ethereum has a lot of adoption. It's that huge TBL. I would say that's changing pretty quick as far as Syscoin is concerned. We have a very huge pipeline, a lot of partners that are in the process of developing, launching on our layer 2s, which we've been very focused on driving adoption for. Yeah, I mean, everything is there. Why the hell wouldn't you choose Syscoin when we can provide all of that without sacrificing the fundamentals of layer 1 security?
Yeah, actually, we see the decentralization of Syscoin over 2,000 masternodes, as far as I know, and actually the merge mining. Well, we've talking about merge mining before, Brad, right? So this is a huge point for Syscoin. Just explain a little bit to our audience what's merge mining all about.
Yeah, sure. So merge mining came about as an idea sort of born from Satoshi himself. And you can read about merge mining on the old Bitcoin Talk forums. Now, the interesting thing about merge mining is so few are really aware of it or why it's important. And it's really a critical primitive for Bitcoin and for blockchain generally. That will only become more and more relevant into the distant future, back in, I think it was around 2010, Satoshi started talking about merge mining with the guys from a project known as BitDNS, which became known as Namecoin, right? And Namecoin sort of created a sort of a standard for merge mining, and it was the very first project to implement that. So what merge mining basically is it enables a miner of one network to mine another blockchain, outside of that network that's using the same like algorithm, yes, and that's essentially how Syscoin derives its proof of work is from Bitcoin miners, right? So, and doing this does not cost these miners any extra energy. They don't have to spend any more energy. They take the work that they've already performed on Bitcoin and they kind of present it as a voucher to the Syscoin network, for which the Syscoin protocol will reward them for the work they've done for Bitcoin, essentially, and for sharing that with Syscoin in the form of Sys. So the incredible economic aspect of that, there are several, but I would say one of the most important ones is how that incentivizes Bitcoin's network into the future. Everybody has this question about Bitcoin. What happens when the block rewards run out? And then the most common answer is, well, the network will be incentivized by fees, right? But the fees are static, at least they are for now, and will be for the foreseeable future. But that's really not sufficient. But the solution has been staring everyone in the face, and it's a solution that Satoshi came up with. It's called merge mining. Once the Bitcoin maxis realize that maybe that Satoshi wasn't of this belief that the only blockchain that should ever exist is Bitcoin, which he obviously wasn't. He came up with the idea of merge mining. Then I think they'll see that the answer has been staring them in the face. So, Bitcoin miners will continue to be incentivized to support Bitcoin into the future by them sharing their Bitcoin work with merge mine chains, which pay them out in rewards, right? So that allows us to tap into, Bitcoin's incredible mining power and hash rate. Right now, Syscoin has, it varies, but it's typically between 20 and 30% of Bitcoin's hash rate. And that's subject to grow. That's quite a bit of hash rate. Merge mining, that said, is not without its challenges. So it's susceptible to, on its own, like naive merge mining is susceptible to 51% attack, just like any other proof of work network. So, if you have maybe 2 or 3 large Bitcoin mining pools merge mining your chain, and that's all, and you don't have any security against 51% attacks or selfish mining, then you can be, you can be subject to those mining pools, attacking your chain, which typically they don't, but that risk is there, right? Unless you have some additional measures. So Syscoin has some, decentralized measures in place that provide finality, which, solves that problem for our network, where we're not subject to 51% attacks or selfish mining, in addition to being merge mined. And we derive our finality from our masternodes network with multi-quorum BLS signatures, right? So Dash uses those as essentially a consensus mechanism. We don't use it for that. We use proof of work and, our merge mined, are being merge mined with Bitcoin and standard Nakamoto consensus. But on top of that, we utilize the masternodes to provide a probabilistic finality. And that's one thing that makes Syscoin interesting compared to Ethereum, is that our EVM has that finality that Ethereum is shooting for with it is shifting to proof of stake and Casper. But in our case, if finality for any reason can't be achieved, like say, there's only a few hundred masternodes on the network, which is highly improbable. We have over 2,500 currently, and over half of them have existed for more than 2.5 years supporting our network, which is, which is a great thing to say. But in the event that, say, there's less than 1,600 masternodes, or for some reason finality can't be achieved, it's not a breaking event. The chain keeps on going, and everything falls back to standard Nakamoto consensus. Whereas with Ethereum's EVM and the finality they're providing, if they can't achieve finality through Casper, it's a breaking event. Like it's a forking event.
Definitely.
Which is not good. So we've got some very good finality that is both resilient, and is also decentralized as well.
Yeah, thanks for the explanation, Brad. So actually, we started with the introduction of Syscoin with merge mining, just to resume, just to tell you what Syscoin is about. And now we are diving deeper into Ethereum 2.0. How can Syscoin change the game? A little bit about the technology, layer 1, layer 2, the transition. I think everything is clear. I think we should start with part 2.